What's going on, everybody? It's Vaaraiant and welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at another deck profile, and this is probably right now the best deck in the format, and that is Regidrago VSTAR. So starting off, we play 3 copies of Regidrago V and 3 copies of Regidrago VSTAR. That's pretty simple, we need to evolve them into VSTAR to do then the most damage that we can with its second attack, and of course to help us set up. We have 3 Teal Mask Ogerpon. It's a nice energy acceleration, and then we can use some items that we will later down the line to set up. Of course, we play 1 copy of Squawkabilly because we really thrive on discarding items and trying to set up quickly. Discarding Pokemon, to be honest. And then we have Versatility EX, of course, allowing us to get those 3 extra cards when our Pokemon are knocked out. Then we also play Mew EX, which allows us, of course, to get those 3 cards and to be a free retreater as well as the Cleffa. And this is also really handy if we perceive that the opponent does not have any possible casting effect, so that we can then put Cleffa into the active spot and draw cards if that helps our game plan. And then moving on to basically the attackers in the deck. The standalone attacker beside the Regidragos is of course the Radiant Charizard for that 1 fire energy, or if you use energy switches then you can utilize it even earlier. And then basically the main attacker that we use with Regidrago is Dragapult. And that's where we also play 2 copies of it, because we really want that in case one is prized, it's nice to have the other one to search it out and discard it. Then of course we play Giratina VSTAR. Sadly we don't use Star Requiem, but we do utilize Lost Impact. It is quite resource heavy, so it's not that often used. And then of course he's doing Goodra as well, to be able to be protected, next turn. And then we also play Curem, and this is why the deck is really good. It can pull off many great things with the Curem. You do need to discard the energies, but sometimes this is really effective against some other decks. Now, before we move on to the supporters, if you want to get yourself a cool, custom, reliable and cheap playmat, then of course make sure to visit matzaccessories.com and use the promo code VAAR20 for 20% discount at the checkout. Now let's continue with the supporters. We play 4 copies of Professor Research because, as I said, we really want to get these Pokemon into the discard pile, so best way to do that is of course Professor's Research, allowing us to of course discard our hand and draw more cards. And then of course we play 3 copies of Iono as well. It's nice to reset our hand or disrupt the opponent. It can be used both ways. And then 2 copies of Boss's Orders as well. Mind that because of the VSTAR ability, everything in this deck can basically be used twice. So, for example, it's a crazy scenario, but you could use 2 Boss's Orders and then VSTAR for 2 more Boss's Orders, so you would have 4 Boss's Orders. It will probably never happen in a game, but just so that you can imagine the power of the VSTAR ability in the Regidrago VSTAR itself. Then, of course, we need to get all these Pokemon out, so that's why we play 4 copies of Nice Ball, and then 4 copies of Ultra Ball as well, allowing to grab ourselves the Regidrago VSTAR or some of the evolution Pokemon, and then later discard them as well with the Ultra Ball. And Ultra Ball is not the only way to discard them. Of course, we can use Earthen Vessel as well, and this really helps us to grab the energy from the deck, and that we can then attach to our Pokemon, use the abilities, and of course manipulate the game plan. And speaking of energy switch, it's been mentioned a few times already, but we play of course 4 copies because we really want to guarantee, setting up 2 Regidragos or maybe a Radiant Charizard early, it's really effective, and that's why the deck works. So if you can maybe disable the items, this deck starts to crumble a little bit, but it has a lot of ways to get out of it. So yeah, we play 2 Super Rod as well because of course we discard a lot of resources, and maybe we would need some of those resources down the line, so that's why the Super Rod comes in handy for some energy or Pokemon or something like that. Then of course this deck utilizes canceling colognes, so even if you put out a Manaphy, it's not really that helpful. And then of course 1 switching option as well into switch, and the ace pack of choice is of course the ace pack that fits this deck the most, and that's the Prime Catcher. It's a switch out option and a guesting option. So yeah, pairing Prime Catcher with Canceling Cologne, using Prime Catchering Manaphy, using Curium Attack to basically wipe the board of your opponent. Yeah, something like that happens with this deck. And then we play 1 copy of Temple of Sinnoh and 1 copy of Jamming Tower. These are basically all our stadiums. We don't play any tools, only items, spores, and stadiums. And then we get to the energy. Of course, we play 3 copies of Fire Energy. We need 2 at most for our Regidragos, but it's nice to have 3 in case 1 is prized as always. And of course, maybe you can utilize Charizard, Radiant Charizard earlier, but for that you also need only 1 Fire Energy, so it's not too bad. And then for the Grass Energy, we play 7 Grass Energy. It's really nice. I was thinking of maybe playing 6 and then putting some other card in, but I think with 7 the consistency is really, really great. So that's it for your Regidrago VSTAR deck profile. Let me know in the comments if you have already used this deck and how did you fare with it. And yeah, this is not my deck. Thanks Baird for lending me the 60 cards. I need to get myself the cards as well, because I'm thinking of maybe playing this deck. And yeah, but this is the version that Baird usually destroys me with. So thank you Baird, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.